Two of the leading candidates join us now. A member of the Texas House of Representatives, Jake Ellzey, and the former Chief of Staff of the Department of Health and Human Services under President Trump, Brian Harrison. Gentlemen, good to see you both.
Hey, great to be with you, Sean. Good to talk to you.
Hi, Brian. Good to see y'all.
Well, it's nice to bring you all together. I want to start with something very easy. We call it the Roger Mudd question. I'll start with you, Brian, and then go to you, Jake. Just why are you running for Congress? Why do you feel called to do this? Brian?
Yeah, real simple for you, Sean. I'm running to continue the same type of work I was doing with President Trump for the last 3 years. We left the country, one of the strongest economies in our history, where we unleashed, free market forces into healthcare, gave people escape routes from Obamacare. We slashed up burdensome regulations. We lowered taxes, and we delivered historic victory after historic victory, including for the lives of the unborn, by defunding Planned Parenthood for the first time in 50 years, and to make sure that Texas and my friends and neighbors back home are not oppressed by an all-powerful government from Washington, D.C., which is exactly what's happening with Joe Biden and the liberals controlling every aspect of Washington right now.
Jake, what about you?
Well, service has been a way of life for me since I was 18. I've been under oath to protect and defend the Constitution since I was 18. 31 years of adulthood serving my country in the military, and also currently serving as a state representative here in Texas, where we're doing things the right way. And I feel like I can take that to Washington, D.C. Sometimes the call of duty doesn't come when it's convenient, and indeed, in this case, it's tragic. But when the call comes, you answer.
Okay, so I mentioned before, you got 23 candidates running. It's what they call a jungle primary. The top two folks move on. So you got, 10 folks, 11 folks on the Republican side. I can see a scenario where somebody wins with, 5, 6, 7,000 votes, right? So walk me through, Jake, first. What's your strategy to do this, to differentiate yourself from the other 10 candidates on the Republican side?
Well, I ran for this seat in 18, so I have a good reputation within the district, and I'm also the only elected person on the slate, and I'm doing good work delivering promises here in the state of Texas that I said that I would take to Washington, D.C., and it's name recognition. There's going to be 35,000 people voting in this election on May 1st, so getting your name out there is exceptionally important, and I think I've got a good shot at doing that.
Brian, what about you?
Yeah, real simple, Sean. My friends and neighbors here in Texas get very excited when they learn there's a candidate with deep roots in this district. I went to junior high here. I went to high school here, ran a small business right here in Ellis County, and have a proven track record of going to Washington and not just fighting, but actually defeating the destructive liberal Democrat socialist policies that Biden, and Nancy Pelosi are pushing, right now. And quite frankly, we need somebody, who knows how to fight these guys. The future of our country is on the line, and I'm doing that right now, even as a candidate. As President Trump's Chief of Staff at Health and Human Services, I'm uniquely situated to know not just are they destroying our border with their reckless open border policies, but they're doing so in a way that's flatly illegal. And that's why I stood up and fought back 2 days ago when I filed a lawsuit against my former agency and the Biden administration and took them to federal court for breaking the law and with complete disregard to the Title 42 order that secured America.
All right, I'm probably looking at the next congressman from Texas' 6th district. But in order to get there, guys, you got to probably reach out a little bit after the Republican primary once you go head-to-head with the Democrat. The district's trending to the left. Trump carried the district by 3 points in this past election, but he won it by 12 in 16. Romney carried it by 17 points in 2012. So I guess the question is, how do you ensure that this seat stays Republican, Jake, in that you reach out to the other side once you get through the Republican, primary piece of this, if you will?
Well, I don't think this seat is turning blue. I think it's going to stay in Republicans' hands. I think there were a couple of candidates that probably could have run who would have had a better shot at this, and they didn't do that. This is a strong Republican district. Ellis and Navarro are exceptionally strong, and if you look at Tarrant County, in reality, they're still red too. So this is a strong Republican district. And then as you look further, this is a national race. So this is a referendum on the leadership of the president and a Democrat Congress, and they're failing. And you bring up a good point, Brian, about fighting. I fought for this country for 20 years of my life. I've lost many friends defending the Constitution of the United States. What is going on right now does not reflect the Constitution that I fought to defend, and it has to be stopped. You look at President Biden and the executive orders. There's no unity here. Yeah. He's on pace to issue 400 executive orders in 1 year. That's a record.
Brian, let me ask you this. Do you think that in order to win the general election, you kind of have to moderate yourself, or do you think you can just stay strong and win with enough Republican votes?
Well, I think we do need to be very clear. I mean, there is a chance the Democrats could flip this seat. They're going to throw everything they have to do so. They just got Trump out of the White House. They view this as a chance to put a stake through the heart, through the conservative movement, through the Trump movement. And you asked about winning. I think this seat will stay Republican, but that's conditioned, upon us sending up the absolute strongest possible candidates. Somebody who knows how to go up and lock horns with the national media, somebody who's defeated the establishment in both parties, somebody who's defeated the bureaucracy. And quite frankly, I don't know that you necessarily have to moderate. Here in Texas, the principles of freedom and the principles of liberty are universal, and they're cherished down here in my home state where I grew up. So I absolutely don't think I would have to compromise my principles, to empower my neighbors and my friends right here in the Lone Star State.
All right, gentlemen, when one of you heads to Congress, please make sure that you come back and join us on Spicer & Company. Deal? That's something that you should both agree on.
You got it,
we
Sean.
do. And we're good friends. We're going to work together to get this seat. Keep it red.
All right.
I promise you that.
That makes me feel
that's
good.
Right.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Be safe on the campaign trail.
Thank you.
All right, well, you just heard it. The Democrats may target this race. Do they have a chance?